Hi, I'm Dino Tripodis. This is Whiskey Business. Who says there are no firsts late in life? We're on location at TAT Franklin, and somebody on this podcast is getting some ink tonight on Whiskey Business. Hi, I'm Dino Tripodis, and welcome to Whiskey Business, the podcast not so much about whiskey as it is one with whiskey. And we are definitely into the, like I said, A through Z in this podcast, guests and things of all types, not always about whiskey. And tonight we're in the T's. Who says there are no firsts late in life? I am 63 years old. I have always wanted to get a tattoo. At least I thought I always wanted to get a tattoo. Really wasn't sure. And I think part of that lack of commitment was I never knew exactly what to get. Well, in recent years, and you can credit this podcast, it has given me the inspiration to come up with an idea for a tattoo. Flashback 2 years ago when I come across Matt Franklin and his lovely significant other, Liz, at, I can't even remember what the function was.
Was that the athletic club?
The athletic club.
Tasting?
It was a whiskey tasting. Well, of course it was a whiskey tasting. And I find out that he is TAT Franklin. And I think, wow, man, what a great guest for the podcast. Well, somebody in this group of people took a card and could not remember where it was and could not exactly remember if it was Matt Franklin. You know what? I could have Googled. I could have done that. But the pandemic came and went. And thank God, Matt reached out and said, hey, I'd still like to do the tattoo thing. And we've talked about it and said we would still like to do the tattoo thing. So tonight we are doing the tattoo thing. And I am getting my first of what will be many tattoos. Hard to say. I don't know. But I am in good hands. And thank you, Matt, for doing this evening. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
We're going to get a lot of the details and information on how people can find you and check out your work and book themselves way in advance. But before we do that, Hansberry, a little bit of business, and then we have a little bit of paperwork to fill out before I am allowed to actually have a sip of whiskey on said podcast, because them's the laws.
Rules suck.
Rules suck, man.
Well,
what happened to the 40s and 50s where you got drunk and went and got a tattoo?
Yeah, man.
This is a professional establishment.
I
Boys,
quit,
please.
man. Hey, Whiskey Business is the podcast not so much about whiskey as it is one with whiskey. Thanks for tuning in. If you're listening on your favorite podcasting app, thank you very much. Hit subscribe, if you will, and go ahead and, if you wouldn't mind, writing a nice review. Maybe a nice review would be helpful. Although we'll take a bad one, I guess. If you are on your favorite podcasting app, you can also watch this. This will be a great one to watch. We've got John's got all the cameras and stuff dialed in.
He's got the big boy camera out tonight.
He's got a big boy camera.
Legit.
YouTube Whiskey Business with Dino Tripodis. What's your name again?
Dino Tripodis, yeah. Been doing this for 4 or 5 years now.
Go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Ding the bell. And you'll get all the stuff, notifications you want. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and there's a cool Facebook live video of us getting ready here you can check out. And thank you to our Evergreen, our parent network, evergreenpodcast.com.
Yep.
And you can find everything Whiskey Business, including our archives, at whiskeybusinesspod.com.
There you go. Our guest bottle tonight, Matt, I think you'll find this appropriate since you are a master of what you do in this particular field. I thought it was only appropriate that we pick up a Jack Daniel's Master Distiller series. This is number 1. This is from the man himself, Jack Daniel's, Jasper Newton. Yep, this is it right here from 1866 to 1911. He was the master distiller for what everybody now commonly knows as Jack Daniel's. Now, what's cool about this particular bottle is that I have no idea what it tastes like. I opened it fresh tonight. I've got no research on this bottle. As I've said on podcasts before, we don't claim to be whiskey experts, just whiskey lovers. So we'll all be sharing firsts tonight, which is my theme for this evening. Who says there's no firsts in life? I'm getting my first tattoo. This will be our first sip of this particular guest bottle. the Master Distiller series, which has been a great series. It's funny, I've had like the number 2 and the number 4.
Mm-hmm.
I've always saved back the number 1 for a reason. There's been a lot of serendipity
Yeah.
tonight.
It's my first podcast.
Is it?
It's my first podcast.
It's your first podcast.
Yeah.
When we were, bravo, well done. So you're a virgin and I'm a virgin.
Yeah, you never forget your first.
You never forget your first. And there were a couple other little things that we'll chat about that seemed, you used the word serendipity or serendipshit, not dipshit.
Serendipshit.
Serendipshit.
That's my name.
But a lot of things that just confirmed that tonight is right.
That's right.
And needed to happen. So, tell us a little bit about you, how you started, how this all came to be. I have some questions here to fill out that I must check off real quick before I'm allowed to drink any whiskey.
Right.
Because we got to follow the rules, the laws, if you will. But how long have you been doing this?
I've only been tattooing for a little over 8 years, actually. I studied fine arts. I have a painting degree and photography degree from Miami of Ohio. But then I was just an illustrator for a long time, so I showed in galleries. I did album art, poster design. I've done character development for TV shows, a ton of basically anything you can draw I've worked on before. And then I sort of like was forced into tattooing in a weird way. Everyone kept telling me to do it. I was doing those wine and paint classes. You've done those, or with your wife or anything? Anyone done those?
I know people that have. I've not.
I've avoided it at all costs, but yes.
Yeah, so I was touring playing music, and when I was back in town, I would host these wine and paint classes at a studio. It was owned by a guy who owned a tattoo shop next door in Westerville, and he would always come over and he'd be like, "What the hell are you doing here, man? Like, you could be making so much money tattooing." And I was like, "Oh, it's gonna take so long. I don't have the time. I'm a real artist." And then 2 weeks with him, I was tattooing, making more money than I ever made. I was like running circles around everyone else, and I was just like, well, I guess this should be my thing. So it was really like this organic push into it. Never was a dream or a goal, but now is my number one passion. Could not be happier. It is the most fulfilling art I've ever done in my life.
What's your website? I'm going to tell people early on in this podcast.
TATFranklin.com. It's very complex.
TATFranklin.com.
TATFranklin.com.
Where you'll see you'll see what he's talking about. You'll see examples of his work.
Social media is all the same. Anything at TAT Franklin, TAT Franklin.
It's amazing. It's intricate. It's beautiful. It's stunning.
Well, you're flattering me, so now I got to try it with this tattoo.
No,
Okay.
mine's going to be very simple. But when I said that to you earlier this evening before the podcast said, he goes, sometimes people think that the simplest tattoos are sometimes the most complicated.
Accurate. You're working in a 3D space on an organic creature, so there's not a flat surface. If you're doing a painting or an illustration, you're working on an iPad or a canvas, you're going to get the same result with this acrylic paint. You're going to get the same result in the digital atmosphere, but every body is completely different. If you want a straight line or a perfect circle, it's near impossible to do on the body. But people are always like, "Oh, it's just like an armband, just a straight line around my arm." And I'm like, "That's the most complicated shit you could ask for, bro."
It is.
Oh yeah, it sucks.
I mean, it's hard. Can you
Sorry to anybody I've done an armband on. I am sorry.
Can any of my boys draw a straight line, even on a piece of paper? No, right? Let alone on a human being.
After some whiskey, I'm gonna get out a big piece of paper, and we're all gonna see who can draw the straightest line.
Right?
Yeah, you'd probably be you, Matt. I always liked drawing as a kid, but I would be so worried that I would just fuck up on somebody's arm permanently.
Well, when you first start, that's like a gigantic fear, right?
Sure.
Talk about like Dino's saying he's a little bit nervous right now.
A little
He's about
bit,
to get his first
I
tattoo.
won't lie.
The first time you tattoo someone, it's permanent, and you're so freaked out. You're in your head about it. But after a few tattoos, you start to get a weird joy out of hurting people. I don't know where that comes from, but it just starts to happen over time.
I feel like I'm in a therapist's chair right now, like I'm ready to spill my guts about my childhood before this session's all said.
I need to get my master's and then start charging insurance or something, right?
2 for 1.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Sure. Tattoos and tattoo TNT, tattoo and treatment. Yeah, I like it.
So, babe, copyright that.
I need to fill out this release that I'll share with you guys on the podcast before I can actually start drinking some whiskey. Like I said earlier, I am at least 18 years old. I know a lot of you can't believe it, but
well, I did him as soon as he came in.
I am. I am at least 18 years old. I am not under the influence of drugs or alcohol this evening. No, not yet. But I got a funny feeling once I sign this and sign my rights away, there'll be some influence of at least
I just
the
need to
alcohol.
know that you know what you're getting into.
I know what I'm getting into. I know what I'm getting into. I'm a thrill seeker. I'm sorry. I am pregnant and I am nursing. I guess the podcast is over.
Get out of the chair.
Get out of the chair, everybody.
Yep. I saw a lot of lactation going on.
Your nipples are leaking.
Yeah. Isn't that a song? Nipples are bleeding. Anyway, I do not have a heart condition or epilepsy and do not take medications that are linked. No, I do not. Look at that.
Perfect.
Never had any heart problems whatsoever.
That's
Good,
amazing.
strong ticker.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do not suffer from hemophilia or skin conditions. Check. I have advised Matthew Franklin of any allergies to soaps, ointments, metals, latex, etc., etc. Yep. Variations in the color and design may exist. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. I understand that if I have any skin treatments, laser hair removal, plastic surgery. No, I've had none of those. No laser surgery.
Oh,
no skin
natural,
treatments,
baby.
no plastic surgery. This is it. I'm aging the way I'm aging. Check. And I acknowledge that a tattoo is a permanent change to my appearance. Well, thank God for small favors. Yes, I do acknowledge that. And agreed to follow all instructions concerning the care. There's a lot of care involved after my new tattoo.
Mainly tender loving, but a little care.
Okay. And I will receive aftercare instructions from Matthew Franklin and agree to all the following instructions concerning the care of my new tattoo. Yes, I will do all that. There's a lot more other stuff here, but yep, I am signing that. And
We own your soul now. Thank you very much.
boom.
Stealing your identity. Great.
Very good. Got that out of the way. Thank you so much. May I have whiskey now? Yes?
We'll allow it.
You cannot have whiskey.
No, I
yet.
will wait.
You cannot have whiskey at the. Okay. I mean, what if I, as the client, said, I'm okay if you drink whiskey?
You know, I think traditionally in tattoo shops, people probably were doing that.
Right.
But yeah, at this point where I'm at in my career, what I'm doing, I'm trying very hard to sort of, I mean, tattooing in general, they've gotten away, you don't call it a tattoo gun anymore. This is lesson number one. So it used to always be tattoo gun, the tattoo gun. That went away about a decade ago. It's a tattoo machine. Okay. The idea is being that we're trying to separate ourselves from alleys, jail systems, motorcycle clubs, you know. So instead of a gun, and the connotation that comes with that, it's a machine, it's a tool, it's something we use to create, right?
Well, it makes sense because this is an art.
Yeah, but the term tattoo artist is very recent as well. Like it was someone who did tattoos. The idea of an artist being involved, that's a whole new, like someone who has art degrees, someone who has formal training in the arts, that's like, you know, the 90s it sort of was there, but now it's pretty much industry standard to have some sort of formal art training if you're getting into
when you
it.
started this 8 years ago, I'm trying to remember when, in anything, just like whiskey and bourbon, there was a boom, you know.
Oh, for sure.
And everything. So when did it happen with tattoos that they kind of just busted out of that niche and became?
In the late 90s, you know, well, you started to see them in pop culture. So
Right.
what happens is, and this goes back to like Asian traditional tattooing as well, but until people see it on other people, then they're afraid of it, right? But as soon as you start seeing celebrities, then sports icons, anyone in the public media, on all the magazine covers having these tattoos, then they slowly inch into society. That's how fashion works too. When you go to Fashion Week, they're wearing these ridiculous clothes. Then that fashion gets like a little watered down, more tame, and now you see everybody wearing those fashions. Tattooing is just the exact same thing.
I remember my daughter, who will be watching this, and
Hello.
I gave her. Oh, by the way, shout out to my daughter Danielle in New York City. I'm wearing Arlene's Grocery T-shirt. This is the iconic Rock and Roll Club, which you said you've played at.
Yeah, a couple of times.
Wow, another serendipity.
I know.
Right? All the things are lining up. She runs this joint. When they opened up after the pandemic, she went back to New York and she busts her butt, making sure that this place has got lines out the door. And
Now I can't wait to go back.
she's excited about me getting a tattoo, but also bummed out because she wanted me to come to New York City and get one there. So
Well, I think since you're doing it this way, it's almost like she's here with us.
yeah, she is kind of here with us. So shout out to my dig, Danielle, and Arlene's Grocery. And here's hoping that everything goes well. She's tatted up.
Yeah,
too.
well, I was sort of assuming just sort of what you
Her
were saying.
first
she was a
tattoo I
guy.
found by accident when she was, and I don't know how she got it because
Was she 18?
she was not 18. Do we have to have? Can this was like, she was born in 82, so she was about 15 or 16 years old. So that would have been 90 something.
Pretty strict on it now. You know, there's actually no age limit in the state of Ohio with parental consent.
Okay,
Now
well, that's
eventually it gets to a point where like it's a child endangerment, you know, but you can go. I've seen people, and I just don't even mess with it anymore because it's always drama. We used to have at the shops I was at, you know, someone would come in with a kid to try and get a tattoo, and then they wouldn't be the legal guardian. It would be a grandparent or an uncle, and I'd be like, well, I can't do it. And then they'd yell at you, and they'd be screaming. You're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Or a parent would show up with a kid, and then in the middle of the tattoo, the other parent would call. Turns out they're going through a divorce. Oh my God, you can't. And they're like, fuck you, Timmy. Or, you know, then this whole drama would happen. So I'm like, I don't fuck with that.
We were divorced and amicable divorce, but that's exactly what happened. My ex-wife signed off and took her because she had some tattoos as well, and she was reaching. We were on vacation in Florida, and she reached up to grabbed something from my sister's cupboard, and her shirt came up a little bit, and there was like, what the hell is that? And there was a little the yin and yang.
Classic.
Like the yin and yang classic symbol right there. I go, what the hell is that? And she goes, it's a yin. I go, no, I know what it is. I'm saying, what the hell is that? And why is it right up above your butt? And you know, she fessed up, and I did. As a dad back then, I'm going, what the hell, and so forth. And I was pissed off.
Yeah.
And apparently, what they say is true because since then she has gotten a lot more tattoos, but they all have significance. They all have meaning. One is dedicated to her grandmother, who she loved dearly. Some of them are indicative of where she's at in life and what she's gone through in life. And it is. I'll say it again. It's beautiful art.
Yeah.
It's beautiful art. And I don't even see half of them because she wears a lot of long sleeves and whatnot.
I know there's sort of two big philosophies of tattooing that I've sort of have like come to really understand. With tattooing, there's a lot of meaning, right? But we know that tattooing's been around for thousands of years. Mummies, cave drawings depict tattoos, right? So when you get a tattoo, you now become part of this thread of all of humanity, right? So now you're part of something that humans have been doing for as long as we know. That's really cool. The second thing is you're taking control over your physical appearance, right? So you don't dictate how you're going to look when you're born, but something that you can do, a permanent change to your body, an outward projection of what you want to look like or represent, the things that are important to you. You are making the decision to take control of that. So,
okay. And the decision that we've made for tonight's tattoo, and I owe all the credit to Whiskey Business and my love for whiskey and bourbon, is that we are getting the molecular formula for whiskey. Hold that right there. I will be getting that. Will be right here on my arm, courtesy of Matt Franklin.
if things go to plan.
If things go to plan. I debated where to put it, and I'm still debating. Is the consensus that it goes right here where
What
we
do you
said?
want to, you want to prep the skin and check it out?
Huh? Prep the skin?
All right, yeah.
What's that involved? Here
So-
we go, kids. We're on our way. For those of you who are listening on audio, fine, but you can check this out on YouTube and actually see it happening as well.
So the first thing we want to do is get hair out of the way of the tattoo surface. This also starts the cleaning process. So I'm
Okay.
going to shave you.
All right.
Shaving dudes is absolutely my favorite part. You can ask my wife. This also gets all the dead skin out of the way and starts the cleaning process. So you have a nice...
You know what? You're lucky that I'm doing this now. There was a time in my life where I had much hairier arms. I don't know where it's gone. I don't.
Yeah, it's always funny when I have like dudes in here with a ton of chest hair. They get a big chest piece, and I'm like, why bother, bro?
Yeah.
No one's gonna see it.
I wouldn't get it on my chest. And that was the other thing too. Where are you going to put it? You know, a lot of people made jokes. Put it on your. We did them earlier. You know, on my butt and so forth. No, on my head. No,
So
on
then
my
we take-
penis. Even though that's a very small tattoo, it's still too much tattoo.
Well, that's why we brought the big camera, right? Yeah. Incredible zoom on that guy, I heard. This is just rubbing alcohol, 99% isopropyl alcohol. This gets any bacteria off of the surface. I don't know what shit you're into.
Okay. I take it that's a rhetorical question. You didn't really want me to answer.
And then I kind of want to find visual centers.
Excuse me.
Like we were talking about how human bodies are
Yeah.
weird shapes, not symmetrical, like this is the center of sort of where your elbow is, but this is the center of your wrist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't line up at all. I want to kind of create what seems to be like
Right?
the visual center on your arm.
Well, that doesn't hurt at all.
Using a yellow Sharpie, I see. That'll
Yeah,
wash
so-
out.
I've heard that the yellow Sharpie is the hardest part of the tattoo.
If I
It's
were-
the most difficult.
I do a lot of big freehand work, so I'll layer it with Sharpies. I'll use a yellow one first, then I'll go back over with a red, then I'll go back over with a blue, and then that'll be the actual line work that I follow when I'm working.
You happy with that?
No, I don't like that angle quite.
Now, there has to be a lot of trust involved, too. I mean, me as the client has to have an incredible amount of trust in you, the tattoo artist.
Well, we're going to end up bonded for life as well, so
Really?
I can't be a shitty person because then every time you look at the tattoo, you're going to think about
I will think of you every time I look at this
what I
tattoo.
think I am.
That is true. And they'll say, "Where did you get it?" And I'll say where I got it. And yeah, I guess this does link us in some way, shape, or form.
I hope you're emotionally prepared for that.
I am emotionally prepared. That's so funny. I'm telling you, there's so many moments of serendipity. When I did stand up on a regular basis, I had a bit that was called "You Are Not Emotionally Prepared." Yeah, it was about
So
my
we
father.
were talking about, we went with sort of a typewriter style of font.
Right. That
And
was the
I had
other
already
thing.
picked it out. I was like, I don't know why, but I'm getting this like American typewriter kind of feel. Dino's like, I collect
I
typewriters.
collect typewriters.
What?
So it's meant to be. Everything about this tonight was meant to be. Okay, now the red Sharpie. This is again to what?
This just clarifies the line I want to follow.
Okay. And how?
I normally don't even care this much.
So
but
the formula, the little picture that you don't care that much that you showed Johnny in the camera. That's going to be approximately the size of the tattoo, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So I like that dotted line right there.
Mm-hmm.
I think follows a pretty straight path, and I'm going to kind of center it on there. How do you
Okay.
feel about that?
So that won't be the whole length of the tattoo. That's just
No,
where
no,
you're
no.
gonna center it.
Yeah, I'm going to
Gotcha.
center it there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this as a stencil. I'm going to place it on your skin.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to check it out and see if you like where it's at before any actual tattooing
All right.
happens.
Cool. Hansberry, you've gotten tattoos.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. I approve of the placement.
Did you go through the same process?
Yeah, actually, I wanted one on the back of my arm, and it was the same thing. He put the stencil on, and it looked funky when I moved my arms. It kind of just, like the skin moved and the muscle moved, and it looked funky.
Now,
so I had him
so
change
where
the
I'm getting
spot.
it now, because I thought about there, and I thought about the classic, right there.
Like a mom heart.
Yeah, on the shoulder, and actually it was who was I talking to? A friend of mine. Oh, I was telling my boss I was getting a tattoo. Yeah, and he says, "Oh man, do the forearm because on the shoulder it's like cliche. Everybody gets on the shoulder. Get it somewhere where people can see it." And then I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe I should. I mean, and you said, at 63, why hide it?
Right. It's not like you're going to try to get a job at a bank or something right now.
I might. I'm in a bank building. That's the other thing too. This your space is in a historic building, as well.
I'm thinking right about there.
Oh wow!
I gotta
Wow!
get a close
Wow!
one.
Wow! Hansberry, come take a closer look. What do you think?
It's pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Whitney,
Yeah.
you approve?
Yeah.
Come here,
Liz.
come here, Liz.
Everybody into it? No, obviously when you twist, it'll twist.
All right. Okay, but it doesn't get funky when I twist
No.
it.
No.
What do you think?
And since the
You
legs
digging
are
it?
kind of staggered, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not you super like worried about it being.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything that you see about this that you don't care for?
No, I like where it's at.
like where
it's
it's
going to
at?
be
You
clean,
like what we're
simple.
doing?
Yep. So we're going to
Okay.
let that dry for a minute.
Okay, we let that dry for a minute. And do you think you do so much work? Would that be a conversation starter? if
Oh,
people
for
saw
sure.
that?
People are
Like,
going to be very
what does that
curious
mean?
about it. Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? And once again, this is the molecular, not
It's
the
molecular-
chemical.
molecular.
The molecular.
So when you're Googling later and trying to like troll us about what it is, it's the molecular.
And did you have like a chemist confirm this?
We reached out to a chemist.
Liz,
I told you I did not.
You check Google. Good enough for me.
We check Google. Dr. Google knows.
All right.
Dr. Google
'Cause you always
knows.
hear that people
No,
feel
I
like-
actually checked.
Well,
it.
it's something in kanji or a different language. Yeah.
I had the two formulas before because you originally wanted to go with the lines and everything too. The
Yeah,
actual-
I thought the chemical structure was kind of interesting.
Yeah, but then now people would
Dino
look at
said,
that.
Matt, you're stupid. I don't want
No,
that.
I did
And
not
then-
say
Yeah.
that. I said
Oh,
that
you
people
into
would say,
science, too?
"Oh, what's that? What's that?" I want people to ask about the numbers and the letters.
Customer's always right.
Not so much, look at the lines. And plus, I thought it'd be like it would cover more space on my arm. And this being my first one, I just kind of want to ease into it.
It's funny because people with their first tattoo, they always get really meticulous. The orientation, they want it so specific where, I've had clients move it 13 times. Like if we wanted to, if you didn't like where it was at, we could take this off, reapply it. I've had people move it, then it's back to the original location, you're pulling your hair out. But often with the first tattoo, you overthink it. And also, most times if people are going to pass out, it's during this
Oh,
time.
what do you mean pass out?
Well, you see, people get anxious, they start to hyperventilate, their heart rate increases.
Wrong time to say that.
Oh, is this a bad time to say that?
Where's that waiver?
So, tattoo needles are actually bundles of needles. I'm supposed to open this in front of the client. This actually, health department requires this. But they're all medically sealed, single-use, and disposable. I'm using a rotary tattoo machine. So, when you think of a tattoo machine, most people think of a coil tattoo machine. That technology has been around since World War II. It's essentially a metal rod. It goes into a big shaft. You have two magnets. You electrify the magnets. There's an armature bar that bangs. That's what moves the needle up and down, right? So it's a loud machine. What I'm using is a rotary tattoo machine. It has a tiny electric motor spinning in a circle. It sounds like that.
Sounds quiet.
Pretty quiet, right? So
Sounds quiet and not painful.
I'm using a 5-round
All
tapered
right, wait a
liner.
second. Wait. So do I need to whiskey up?
Do what?
Take a swig first.
Do I need to?
Yeah.
Whiskey up?
Take a swig.
Okay. Actually, I'm not concerned. People ask me, that was a question. Dude, it's going to hurt. Are you concerned about the pain? Let me tell you something about pain. And this is in the TMI, too much information department. I had a scope put through the head of my penis during a cystoscopy.
All right.
And I was not knocked out for it. I was awake for it. Oh, sure.
Did everyone else's butthole just tighten up?
Yeah,
It was
right?
just like,
Sure. They gave me some lidocaine over there to numb it. But other than that, so look, if I can endure that for what seemed like an eternity, by the way, in an unrelated topic, but still related topic, the assistant doctor, the intern who was observing, said I have a remarkable urethra. So thank you. I've got that going for me.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you get like a plaque that says
You
that,
know
or
what? I
like
should have.
is
I
like
was
a little
biting on a
trophy?
towel going, thank you. What the hell?
One more thing for me just to look up to you.
Right?
for.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. It's,
I'm impressed. I'm
I
very
have a
impressed.
remarkable urethra. So here we go. Are we getting ready to start?
I'm glad that he starts talking about penetration because that's what we're about to do. So,
Oh, that is sweet. The Master Distiller, the Jack Daniels.
so I'm going to start kind of at the back here and work down.
Okay.
The main reason I'm doing that is so I'm not rubbing it off as I'm working.
That makes
So if I
sense.
start back here and work toward me, it'll be the easiest angle for me. You want to lubricate the surface?
Yeah. Oh, you asking me or are you telling me?
I'm telling you. We do this because we don't want to tear the skin. Everything we're doing, we want to make sure that we're taking care of the skin and we want the best healing possible.
I gotcha.
So you put a thin layer of lubrication down. I'm using Aquaphor, and that way it's going into the skin and not just ripping the surface.
Aquaphor.
Yeah.
I've heard
You
that.
put it on like baby butts.
Yeah, and I've also heard that that's going to be something that I will probably
For aftercare?
use aftercare.
Yeah, and at the end we'll talk about that. I'll walk you through the steps.
Okay. All right.
Dino, are you ready?
Is it time?
I think it's time.
We're doing this? All right, no turning back now, right?
That's right.
Okay, cool.
I'm going in.
Go in.
All right.
Are you doing it?
Whoa!
Are you doing it?
As in, am I tattooing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Seriously?
we're
So
in.
it's on your flesh. What does it feel like, Dino? Is it?
Once
Yes.
again, when you've gotten to a certain level of pain in your life and you use that as the gauge, this almost tickles.
Well, and what gauge are you using there, Matt? Like,
It's a 5-round tapered liner, so it's 5 needles coming to a tapered point.
so like how thick is that? Would you say?
Imagine 5 bristles of a brush,
Okay.
thinner than the thinnest
So
liner.
you're not getting a big old.
So are you comparing this to what you've had done?
No, I'm just trying to give people a perspective of what's
Okay,
getting
let me-
on your arm.
You know, tattoo needle groupings, there's a infinite rabbit hole you could go down. Like I said, it's like bristles on a brush in different formations. So this is a round liner, so they're in a round circle coming to a tapered point, but you can get mags, flat liners, round shaders, so instead of a tight tapered point, they're in a loose formation. Then every individual gauge of needle can be different. I'm using all 12 gauges here, which I say that, but they're like microscopic. But you can get 10 or bigger gauges of individual needles, you know, so every artist kind of learns what they like, you know.
Is this the only type of machine you use, or do you have all those different types? that you
I
use?
have multiple machines, but I have like 3 rotaries. But with this technology, it used to be with the coil tattoo machines, you would need different machines set up for one for lining, one for a different size liner, and a different one for shading. So you would have to set up 3 or 4 different machines if you were doing a large piece. The rotary tattoo machine has really streamlined the entire process. And these have been around for a long time, but they didn't really get popular until about 10 years ago.
Yeah, when I say it almost tickles, that's playing it down a little too lightly. I mean, this is obviously, you can feel what's going on, and if you are sensitive to those type of things, you know, you might react a little differently than I am right now. I also should add that for some reason, over the course of my life, I've developed a huge threshold for pain. I don't know why. I don't know where that came from. It's almost like almost like a superpower that never got developed. You know,
Right.
like oh man, you know what? If you were just one step further, you'd be a superhero. And I feel no pain. I mean, I can still get hurt. Don't get me wrong, but I don't feel much pain.
Now, so right there on the forearm, how is that traditionally like a spot that hurts a lot?
Yeah, is that a more sensitive area?
Mid forearm is a pretty good spot, low on the pain threshold. But when you move in either direction, so we call this the ditch. The ditch is a bitch. And then down here at the
Ditch
wrist.
is a bitch.
The ditch is a bitch. And then down here at the wrist, you know, that's where you test like baby's milk, etc. Like that's a highly sensitive area. But right,
We're right in
yep,
the sweet spot.
This is good.
Sweet spot of the whole thing.
What's the most like tender? Like I've heard like your feet or your toes.
You know, for me personally, on my own body, the top of my hands were very painful. My buddy Cam blasted my right hand for like 4.5 hours.
Wow.
And that was one of the most unpleasant experiences of my life. And then I actually tattooed my left hand.
On your own?
Yeah, and I did.
Are you allowed? Did
The
you have to
curse.
fill out a waiver?
Yeah, I did. No, so health department, close your ears right now. I was in here alone, and so I have my hand on the armrest, and I would have to stop it. So I'd tattoo, I'd stop, I'd wipe, I'd chug a beer, start it again, go back to it. But it's my wife's initials are on my hand. And it's sort of a curse in tattooing. You never get your significant other's name or initials tattooed on you. So far, so good.
Damn the curse.
Well, you didn't get it tattooed, you tattooed yourself.
I did
So,
tattoo myself.
Hopefully that
Yeah,
helped.
It breaks the curse.
Yeah.
yeah.
I also did not know he was going to do it.
That's nice. How long you guys been married?
2 years.
What was here?
2 years. So when I met you two, were you married then? Newlyweds?
No, I think we were still engaged.
Still engaged.
Yeah.
So we got a pandemic wedding here. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's a
totally.
whole other story.
It was a lot of people have mentioned, though, they're sort of jealous because we had such a small wedding and it was so easy and we actually got to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Dino, how you feeling?
I feel fine, but I can definitely feel it. But like I said, I'm trying to gauge this for people who don't like any kind of pain. You'll feel this, but it's not horrendous. I mean, I'm not going, oh my God, are you done? Are you done? Are you done? I will have more whiskey though.
Pretend it hurts so you can drink more.
Yeah. I can't wait till you try some of this, Matt.
Yeah, I'm just trying to rush through as fast as
No,
possible.
don't rush. Do not rush. No, not the point I was trying to make. But what's been the longest piece of work you've done? What's taken you the longest to complete
Well,
a project?
I really cut back on sessions. As far as single sessions, when I first started, I would do much longer, 6-7 hours. I found that that's actually pretty unhealthy for the skin. It gets really chewed up, and then it heals poorly.
Yeah.
So now I do 4-hour blocks maximum on any one area of the body. But, if you're talking about a full sleeve, you're looking at 20 plus hours, a full back, 30 hours of work. So multiple sessions. I like at least 2 weeks in between. If someone books a sleeve with me, I'll do once a month for 5 to 6 months.
And when you talk about, they explain the concept of a sleeve. It is actually literally your whole sleeve, your whole arm.
Yeah, a whole arm or a whole leg. I don't know why it's a leg sleeve instead of a pant. You would think it'd be like a pant.
Right.
But
Yeah, you would think,
I don't know.
right?
So yeah, you would, and there's two distinct approaches. If you're going American traditional or traditional
It's interesting,
tattooing.
as you get closer to the wrist, it starts to burn
More
a little
tender?
bit more.
Yeah.
That starts
Well, we
to
say
burn
it's
a little
spicy,
bit more.
so
A little
tattooing we
spicy.
use a lot of food terms.
Yeah.
So we're like,
Yeah.
a little
I didn't
extra-
want to interrupt you,
little
but I
extra
just wanted to
spicy
let
there.
people know as he gets closer to out of the sweet spot, it tends to burn just a little
like
bit
whiskey.
more. Yeah, right. Yeah. So what has been the longest longest project that you've done on somebody, and what was it, if you recall?
Well, I have a lot of guys like full sleeves, full backs, but there was one project in particular that was took unnecessarily long. I had a guy in here, and he wanted a Star Wars battle scene on his ribs. And I don't know if you know this, but space is dark, so there's a lot of blacks being used. Millennium Falcon, TIE fighters, all in outer space, and I was doing not quite a skin rip into outer space, but sort of just
Cool.
like a paint stroke, like outer space, and then the ship's flying out. We get into the tattoo, I make one dot, zip, and he jerks, and he's like, oh,
Ah!
this is going to be way different than I anticipated. And I'm like, yeah, dude, it's your ribs. So anyway, we ended up doing, I think, 15 or 16, 45-minute sessions. And he just came back for over a year and a half, once a month. We would do what we could, and then he would have to tap out over and over and over. And it was very time-consuming unnecessarily, but it turned out great. Very happy
And
with
how
what it
much
ended up
would
with.
something like that
He
cost?
didn't give up.
How much would something like that cost?
Right now, I charge $200 an hour. So
So he
I
had
don't
how
do
many
math.
hours?
I just draw pictures. I
He
don't
had
know.
how many hours invested in that?
Yeah, at that time I was only charging $150 an hour. So
Okay, still. Let's round it off to 200, let's just say. And it was how many hours?
15.
15 hours. Okay, I mean, if it's something you really, really want,
Well, it's permanent.
yeah. And again, I'm going to go back to the simple word art. It's art. Have you ever refused to do a tattoo?
There's
Of
only
something.
been two that come to mind. One was just blatantly offensive. So, well, it was not blatantly offensive. A guy came in when I was still at the shop, and he was like, "Oh, I want Odin's hammer, bro." And I was like, "Oh, cool, Nordic shit. I'm into that." Google Odin's hammer, because it wasn't Thor's hammer, it was Odin's hammer, and it was often associated with a white supremacist gang in prisons. And I was like, "Is this what you're talking about?" And he was like, "Yeah."
Yeah,
And I
man.
was like, "Not doing that shit." And then the other one was, I had a woman come in, and she wanted a cover-up of a cover-up. So she already got a tattoo, got it covered up and didn't like it, and then she was wanting me to come in and cover it up again with something else. I typically don't send drawings in advance. I have to draw every day for every tattoo, often multiple tattoos. And also I find that if you send drawings in advance, they want a lot of edits that they actually don't, until they see the stencil on the body, until they understand the way the piece is going to look. Oftentimes, if you just send an email with an outline, they're like,
Can you move this there?
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
you tweak this? Can
Yeah.
you exclude that line?
Yeah,
Is that
exactly.
what they sound like?
yeah, in my head, when I'm reading the email, that's what it
Is that what
sounds
they
like.
sound
I
like?
see that just bitching about.
Is
But
that what
so-
I sound like right now? Can I move this? Can I,
Well,
can I
font.
change the C to a K?
So she was messaging, and there was no way she was going to be happy. Every email was like, "I'm just not sure. I'm not confident. I'm worried about it." And because it was already a cover-up of a cover-up, I knew that no matter what we did, she would not be satisfied. So I was like, "I don't think this project is for me. When you're ready, I could still be here, but maybe you should go to somewhere else." So I turned her down. But that's maybe only 2 tattoos in my entire life I've said no to.
What's been the most Not necessarily length or time. What's been the most outrageous thing that you've ever put on a body?
There's
Liz is laughing. She's laughing. Is it on yours? Are you laughing?
So it was maybe a few weeks after I had started tattooing, and the tattoo shop I worked at was in Westerville, next to behind Sirens Strip Club.
Okay. That seems like you get a lot of repeat business.
This woman comes in.
Location.
This woman comes in, not associated with the strip club. She's probably late 40s, early 50s, and this is her quote, not mine, but she says, "I need my pussy tattooed."
Okay.
This is the only story I have like this. And I'm like, what's going on? And I had just started, so I'm sitting at a desk in the front taking walk-ins, which the new guy usually does. And I turn around, and everybody else in the shop has disappeared. All the other dudes have sprinted to the back. There's like a drawing room. Nobody wants to go near this situation at all. I'm broke at the time, so I'm like, I was like, all right, give me $60 and I'll do it. So,
wow.
She wants the name Tim. It's her boyfriend's name. I don't know the situation. We get her prepped. We put up a curtain. She's got her legs up. We put the little stencil on. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm already drenched in sweat. Before I start, Tim walks in. So now I got this guy with his hand on my shoulder, breathing down my neck as I'm fucking elbow deep, all up in his woman. And I'm like, what is happening to me? I'm crying. I'm sweating. I feel immense shame. I hate everything in my life. I'm never tattooing again. I want to give up on the entire industry. I do the tattoo in about 5 seconds. Kick him out. I go home. I'm like, Liz, this is wrong. I'm in the shower, just shaking.
Oh my God.
I almost quit for sure. I was like, I'm not doing this. This is not for me.
Aren't you glad he didn't want Timothy?
I know.
Well, and Liz, your wife is here. I mean,
Yeah.
That's got to be kind of weird. There's women that come in here all the time that want things like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, not like that.
No, not here. No,
You know what
no.
I mean? Or even just if they want something on their
Well,
chest, they've got to take their shirt off.
Sternum tattoos are super popular, so it's just
Sternum
like girls
tattoos?
and pasties or whatever. But I totally separate out, one, I want people to feel comfortable all the time. That's a big reason I have this private studio is you're not on display. There's not other random people walking in. When you're in here, it's an intimate experience. This is a forever type of operation that you're getting here. It's important to you, typically emotionally important. So I want to make sure that they're completely comfortable. And no matter what part of the body I'm working on, often I don't even associate it. I'm focused on what the work is, how clean is it, how efficiently am I working, how great does it look, and then I can analyze the grand scheme of on the body, how does it flow? But as far as it being some sort of sexual situation, never happens. I don't.
He's a true pro, huh?
He's a true pro.
Right. Well, let me ask my stupid question of the night. Has anybody ever gotten? Can you get a tattoo on your penis?
Yeah, you can.
You can.
I've never done it, but
You've never done a tattoo penis?
no. But people do. Google it.
I don't. No, I won't. I won't Google it. I have no desire to see that.
There's a lot of people
Nor do I want to see the
Yeah.
other. I don't want to see. I don't want to see if Tim's still in her life either.
Well, it's how do you go about it? Is there a fluffer on set?
Yeah, right. I
what's
mean,
the
you can't do it.
situation?
You can't do a tattoo when he's flashing.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
That's
when
what I
you
would
write
assume.
a secret message on the rubber band.
What if it's not certain stuff? You know,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And there's the other.
All that smegma. Term of the day, guys.
If
Term of
I
the
wanted to get a tattoo on my penis at 63 years of age, given where I'm at in life right now, I'd have to come back 2 minutes every day for in order to give him the proper canvas.
All right.
Your urethra.
Urethra.
Yeah, my urethra. That's inside.
They've already said
Oh,
pussy
my
and
God.
smegma and urethra
Oh, my
all
God,
in
we
one
got 'em
episode.
all. Anybody?
I'm sorry.
Anybody else want to
I
chime in with
apologize
something?
to Evergreen.
No.
I
Trust me.
listen to this one.
They're good. They're good. They're good.
Well,
Are we done?
I think we're done.
Oh, no way. Wow. Okay.
How do you feel about it?
I feel really good about it, actually.
It looks cool.
I'll be honest with you. While we were talking, the thought that came in my head amidst the conversation, and I mean this sincerely, I was wondering if I'd had any regret,
Right.
and I have none whatsoever. I mean, this comes out.
No regrets.
No regrets. No regrets.
Not everyone ordered.
No, not a single regret. I mean, this is very cool. This is something that's relatable to me. It'll be definitely a conversation starter.
For sure.
Right? You know, what does that mean? And I can explain to people and what it is. And the only issue, and it's got nothing to do with me, is that in August I have to go visit my mother, my 86-year-old mother.
And she's going to love
in
it.
Tampa, Florida. No, she's not. Now, she's going to ask me why I'm wearing long sleeves when I'm coming
In
down
Florida.
to Florida, right? And eventually, I'm going to have to come clean and show her and tell her. So, when it's all said and done, she will probably have a million questions as to why and so forth and so on. But
My mom cried when I got my first tattoo.
she must sob all the time now, just looking at your arms along. And she's over it now.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I remember.
What was your first tattoo?
I got a lightning bolt on the back of my arm. No real purpose at all. I was in art school. I was 18. I was like, I'm never going to have a real job. So I just wanted to, I visualized, I was like, I'm going to be a person with a lot of tattoos. I just know that's going to happen.
How does that happen? What let's address that as we start to wrap up here so you can drink some whiskey. You know, there's that, people say once you get one, you get addicted to it. What do you think it is that makes people go, not be one and done when they get a tattoo? Some people are, but some people always say, I got one, and I wanted a second one and a third one. What is it?
Yeah, I think people like the control. I really think that it's this decision that you make to do something for yourself, and it's an outward projection of you, you know, and you're saying something with every tattoo you get. It might be something silly. It doesn't always have to be a serious, emotionally heavy, but you're still saying something, and you made that decision. There's so few things, like most people have a job they don't like, a boss who tells them what to do, maybe overbearing parents, whatever it is. This is them lashing out in a positive way for their body that they're doing for themselves. So I think it's a power thing. Yeah. But it's also healthy.
You know, and I was like, I'm already thinking about
The next one?
if I were to get a next one, what would it be? Now, if I were to get another one, that one would be more intricate because I would want it to be an old manual typewriter.
Yeah.
You know, something like an old Royal, an old Underwood, or some sort. And that would definitely be far more intricate and take far more time. And that would probably be repeat visits.
Yeah.
You know, right? Because you got to get the keys right and so forth and so on, right?
Yeah, let's book it for next year.
November 23. Yeah.
So what I'm gonna do now is wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that all about?
So basically,
Are we into the aftercare portion?
we're
of
into
this?
the next phase.
Okay.
Yep. So essentially, I'm putting a thin layer of ointment on it right now.
Is this the aqua?
This is Aqua 4. I'm gonna bandage it up. You want to leave it covered for the next 2 hours?
Poor man a drink yet?
No, yeah. Are you allowed to have a drink now?
Yeah, you can. Are we gonna stay over here?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to grab another table and give it to me. So, right now is when it's the most susceptible to any type of infection. Right? You have an open wound right now. So
I do?
Yep. So I want to cover it. What I'm going to use is this meat packing pad right here. It's a dry lock pad.
All right. Thank you. He does wonderful work, by the way.
Here, lift your arm up
He
for
gets
me.
the job done.
Lift your arm up a little bit. I'm going to wrap this around. What I want to do is...
Did you get a picture of it, Hansberry?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
You did?
Well,
He's
What we'll
already
do is-
wrapping it.
get like a good close up.
We'll do... what I'll do is I'll take this off when we're done. When we're done, I'll take this off and I'll clean it, and then we can get all that photos like of it fresh.
Okay. All right. So this is something that I will keep on
You want to keep it on for about 2 hours.
2 hours tonight.
Yep, and then you'll take it off, you'll wash it, and then you can let it breathe. Since this is just tiny line work, it's going to heal in like a week. It's going to heal really, really fast. And all you need to do, daily upkeep with it, is listen to your body. If it feels dry, thin layer of lotion. If not, just let
Any
it be.
particular kind of lotion?
Anything unscented, so no scent, no dyes. You want to avoid those. Those can have bad reactions with the skin. So I just like Lubriderm or anything all natural. A lot of people are now using like coconut oils, avocado oils as well.
Vaseline?
No. So I try to avoid anything that has petroleum based.
Okay.
That can clog the pores.
All right.
Since we shave the area, you
Right.
could get ingrown hairs.
Ooh,
And we
no,
want
I
to
don't
avoid
want
that.
So Lubriderm, those.
Yep, totally
Okay,
fine.
Just okay.
And then I also have a little aftercare sheet.
Yeah.
that I give to every client.
Oh, let me see my aftercare sheet.
There you go. It pretty much
you.
says everything I just said.
No swimming, no tanning.
Oh man.
Oh, man, no picking. What do you mean no picking?
It's going to scab a little bit, so you don't want to
pick at it. Leave wrap for 2 hours after getting the tattoo. Okay, clean tattoo with unscented soap, with like ivory soap.
Yeah, anything that's white with no scents.
Yeah, after
No
removing the
sensitive
bandage.
skin, I mean, even like basic hand.
Let air dry, then use a small amount of unscented moisturizer to keep from drying out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know if I have any moisturizers at
Well,
home,
just
but-
any basic lotion.
Okay.
Water based.
Days 1 through 5, clean your tattoo 2 to 3 times a day with the unscented soap. Slightly moisturize after cleaning. Now, when I'm cleaning this, does it after I take it stays unwrapped?
Yeah, you just let it be.
After tonight, after 2
Yep.
hours, it stays unwrapped.
Yep.
I just have to be dedicated.
You just don't want to do anything gross.
Right.
So, like, ideally, I typically tell people don't use your bath towel right away. Honestly, I'll just say the generic stuff. Don't use your bath towel. You want to use a paper towel or let it air dry. That's for like a big tattoo. With this line work, it's going to close up so fast.
And I'm also I said in addition to the high tolerance for pain, I'm also an incredibly fast healer.
That's good, like Wolverine. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, dude. I mean,
Look at this wound.
look at I mean, you can't see it now, but that was like
For everyone listening, he's taking his pants off.
super long. I cut myself with a saw, and it was open, and
What were you sawing, Dino?
I was trying to take down some branches, and the saw dropped out of my hand.
Oh.
And it wasn't like electric or anything. It was just, but it's still.
I guess I just envisioned chainsaw.
It went pretty
Whoa,
deep.
whoa.
It went pretty deep, but I fixed it myself with some super glue and some gauze,
Yeah.
and all I had was packing tape. But look how remarkably quick it healed.
Yeah.
Look at it. I mean, you can't see it on camera.
looked great.
But, so I'm saying this will be fine.
And I do free touch-ups, so if anything, it's very thin line work. If anything falls out, let me know, and I'll touch it up for free.
Days 12 and beyond, wash tattoo at the beginning of the day and keep slightly moisturized until your skin returns to normal. I don't know
What normal?
what normal is for my skin.
Relative.
If redness persists after 4 to 6 days, reach out
And touch.
to Matthew Franklin and contact a medical professional. Well, which is it? Reach out to you or contact a medical professional?
Reach out to me first, and
Reach
I'll
out
let
to
you
you
know
first.
if you really need a medical
Okay.
professional. Most of the time, it's no. It's like, it's the day after, and it's still red, and I'm like,
Of course, it's still red.
calm down.
But hey, the most important things: no swimming, no tanning, no picking. All right?
You heard it here first, kids.
STP.
No swimming tanning. I'm going to put that on everything. I'm going to
STP.
try this now.
And no STP.
What am I drinking?
This is the Jack Daniel's Master Distiller series. This is Jasper Newton. This is who was the Master Distiller till 1911, from 1866 to 1911. And
I like bourbons, and Eileen's a little sweeter most of the time.
well, this is a very sweet one. And
Yeah.
you said
Like no burn at all.
you wanted to ask about whiskey. I don't think the proof on this is very high. Not that I think about it. Is it? Anybody check?
Then I could have been drinking
this
it
is
the
only
whole time.
86 proof. This is nice and easy. You could. This is like bath
Breakfast
water.
whiskey.
86. You got 86 in the house. You said you never had any 86.
Well, I never had. That was a special 86 proof in the house. He's always bitching at me because I have nothing but high proofs in the house.
Yeah.
I don't mean
It's
to
all
have
like
high
barrel
proofs in the
proof or
house.
whatever, yeah.
Barrel proof.
It's the different
Small
brand,
batch, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of 86 proofs hanging around for everyday sipping.
Yeah.
And this was a special bottle because it was part of the Master Distiller series, and I don't know. I can't replace this bottle
Yeah.
anytime soon unless I go down to Tennessee and do this.
I'm
but
flattered.
this is sour mash whiskey. But the Jack Daniel's is bourbon.
Right.
I know a lot of people tell you that Jack Daniel's is not bourbon. It is bourbon. They just decided not to call it bourbon because look how they've made their fame and fortune by calling it sour mash whiskey.
Right.
But technically, it is bourbon.
I worked. I did one tour for Fireball whiskey, which is not whiskey. you
It is
know?
not whiskey.
They can't. They had to take out the E, right? It's just
Right,
3 I's,
right,
K-Y.
right.
But at the time, they had an association with Buffalo Trace. There was a connection, like somehow they were we were allowed to drink other things on tour. Basically, our job was they were paying for gas, food, hotels. We had to go to 10 to 12 bars in every city we were in and buy everyone Fireball. This was like 2010, 2011, so it was sort of just hitting the scene, and we were total guerrilla marketing. So we were just out every day. We would do 2 days in every city, and you buy 50 people a shot of Fireball. Well, they want to buy you shots of Fireball in return.
Sure, of course.
Right? So eventually we started just being like, oh, well, we'll get it, but we'll get Buffalo Trace, or we'll get Eagle Rare, or like whatever else. Yeah. And now everyone I know is no longer associated with Fireball whiskey, so I can talk about how we ripped them off so hard. I'll be totally fine.
Yeah. There's trends in everything. I'm sure there's trends in tattoos.
Oh, 100%.
What do you see as a popular trend?
Well, it's funny because like the tramp stamp is long gone.
Is it?
Big tribal? Well, they stay around forever.
Or has
but
it just changed its name?
Well, now it's the underboob tattoo, right?
It's what now? The what?
So right now, there's a big trend for sternum tattoos. So a lot of women are getting, they look like chandeliers. So it's like an object in the center, and it goes like under the boobs. So like under boob tattoos. And it's just, you've just taken the tramp stamp and sort of like, recomposed it to the front of the body. Now the work is much better, just because the style of tattooing, the machines we use, the inks we use are dramatically better. The artistry is much higher. But still, I think when you start seeing people getting the same thing, that's women. Now men, instead of the chunky tribal, everyone's getting the black forest armbands, right? So you'll see a ton of dudes getting these. It's just like a dark forest and it fades out black. Sometimes there's like a wolf in it. Sometimes there's like a mountain in the background, but it's over and over and over. And when people hit me up for those things, I like, instead of just saying like either A, yes, or B, that's super cheesy and cliche, I'm always like, let's find the version that's best for you, right? Like, is there a type of tree indigenous to where you're from that like resonates with you? Was there a mountain you hiked when as a kid? Is there some way to personalize this instead of it's just like, I saw this on Pinterest and I like it, I want it.
Cookie cutter.
Yeah, exactly.
So is this what I got? Is this a common tattoo?
No, not at all. I've never
I mean,
done, chemical formulas a lot of people get like psilocybin or LSD or things like that. Those are the most common sort of like chemical molecular formula stuff. I've never done whiskey, and I've never done it just as the numeration before. So
Yes.
What are some trends that will never go out? I mean, you know what I mean? Like
American traditional, for sure. If you're pretty much anywhere in the world. That's exactly that.
Right.
So you think about those things, and they're back.
sailors.
They're back bigger than ever. Sailor tattoos is what people would consider them, but those are sort of, people were sailing the Pacific Ocean. They ran into Pacific Islanders, Polynesian people. They were doing tattoos that represented their jobs, right? So if you lived in the mountains, you would get little mountains. If you were a fisherman, you'd get like shark's teeth and stuff, the Polynesian tribal. The sailors were like, oh, we're going to get stuff that represents shit we're into. So we're going to get a ship and an anchor, and we're going to get like hot girls, and we're going to get, but then they started, everything had a meaning, right? You get a shellback, you get a turtle if you cross the prime meridian, you get a different one if you cross the equator. They would get chickens and pigs on their feet because those were in crates, and if a ship went down, they would float. So it was like, if I'm in a crash, I'll float. So every little tattoo had significant importance to them. But that style, that thick, bold line, that American traditional style will never get out of style at all.
Why was it called a tramp stamp?
Well,
I mean, initially it's just a tattoo on your backside. But why did it become a tramp stamp?
The era of people getting them, it was still, we were talking about, what do we do now in tattooing? It's out of the basement. I tattoo doctors, lawyers, my accountant. Mm-hmm. But back then, most of the people getting tattoos were of a different degree of person.
I gotcha.
So I think it was associated with criminals, back alleyways, basements. The people getting tramp stamps at the time were associated with criminals, back at motorcycle clubs. So if you got that tattoo.
So, but did you have to get it in the back for it to be a tramp stamp,
or would any thing so you could see it when it would come up when you're
riding a motorcycle?
Would any tattoo, if you were in the business of being a tramp back in the day, would any tattoo be a tramp stamp?
The term tramp stamp came way later. Like, people were getting them.
Okay.
And then it was like late 90s, early 2000s, people started saying, because there's a ton of like moms now.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so unprofessional. But yeah, there's a lot of older women who have them now, and I always hear this all the time, and they're like, well, when I got it wasn't called a tramp stamp.
What was it called?
Just a back tattoo. Just a lower back tattoo.
Does it have to do with how how things come in and out of fashion. You know, as soon as something kind of comes out of fashion, they're going to make fun of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And kids are going to make fun of it, the music you listen to, the art you're into.
And I talk to women that have them, and I go, "Do you have any tattoos?" And they'll say reluctantly, "Yes, I have a tramp stamp." You know, but that's not, obviously they weren't saying, "Hey, can I have a tramp stamp?"
Yeah.
when they came in,
they thought it was the coolest thing ever. That butterfly with the tribal, like, that's fucking dope.
Yeah. It means peace, man.
Yeah.
You started talking about this, Dino. You asked him about the space. Specifically, this space is a former bank. But talk about like the aesthetics of like just a cool tattoo parlor. I mean, you guys have
a lot of antiques
cool
going on
music.
in here. Yeah.
You know, you got
we create a whole vibe.
David Attenborough
There
on
is.
TV.
When I was at shops, and I've been getting tattooed since I was 18, so we're 03, 04. And back then, and even still now, a lot of tattoo shops, it's metal music, it's horror movies, it's fat dudes with big beards laying on top of you. There's all the machines are super loud. It's like an abrasive environment, right? So if you show up into that, you're a 19-year-old girl getting your first tattoo, you're terrified, right? And so what I try to offer here is a luxury tattoo experience, but also a total chill, calming vibe.
it is very calm.
Because everybody shows up anxious, right? So it's usually, blues or classic rock or soul music. I'm going to have animal shit on the TV. And when you show up, I'm prepared. That's another thing at tattoo shops. A lot of times you'll show up, the artist, they don't even know what you're doing. They have nothing drawn up. Like, if you show up here, absolutely everything's set up, and I'm like, all right, let's make sure it's sized right. Let's do this, I want to like calm them down and know that they are important to me. But also, the space looks really cool. So
It is very cool.
bank built in the 1920s.
No bank building.
Yeah, this was a bank boardroom.
Revolving door to get in.
When we were looking for
Marble
a space,
stairs.
yeah, when we were looking for a space, everybody kept showing us storefronts. I was like, oh, well, I'm opening, I didn't even want to call it a tattoo shop, but if I didn't say that, people didn't understand. I was like, I'm opening like a private boutique, studio, and they'd be like, what? And then so storefronts, they show me first floor, big glass, like these big open like storefronts, and I was like, no, I want to be up off the ground. I want to be hard to
You
find.
don't want foot traffic. Just
No.
kind of like, hey, can I get a tattoo?
No phones ringing, no random people walking in. The only way you know how to get here is if you're supposed to be here.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Like a speakeasy
Exactly.
for tattoos.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Almost comes back to whiskey.
Yeah, it does. It does.
And now I'm trying to do this for other artists too. So I'm doing this thing. I have 6 private studios down the street with like a 900 square foot lobby gallery space. Same deal. It's another old bank building. It's on the 3rd floor. Each of them have their own completely furnished like private studio. They work when and how they want, but now they can move from the shop into their own private space and like.
So the lobby is a communal lobby for everybody?
Yeah, but it's also like a gallery space. We're going to be doing events like art openings. We're doing continued education for tattoo artists if you're in my network. The first thing we have is like a professor from Miami University coming up, and she's going to be doing cell phone photography. She's a photography professor, but everybody shoots all their shit on their cell phone. So I thought that would be a good thing to like further them in their like appearance online and social media.
All right, before we start to wrap things up, let's get that information out there again. I know that you are booked, but
Yeah,
people
November of
cancel out.
2023.
People
yeah.
cancel out. People.
And I'm always taking new clients, and also
So
like
forth and so
any
on.
questions too. I'm always open. Like a lot of people are like, I don't know where to start, or like I'm thinking this idea. Like I love the conversation, and I love just like really understanding where people are coming from with their tattoo.
If whiskey business ever gets picked up and becomes something bigger than what it is, I'll get a whiskey business tattoo. That'll be my next one. Well, in fact, I'll get them.
Yeah.
All 3 of us will get
Tramp
them.
stamp.
Tramp stamp. Tramp stamp.
Whiskey business. Throw out some of the details that people need to know if they want to talk to you just about tattoos or schedule past
you
November
can find
2023.
My contact info, tatfranklin.com, tatfranklin.com. Also social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, anything. It's at TAT Franklin, TAT Franklin. I like to keep it very simple.
Reminds me of the Italian restaurant too.
TAT Franklin? I've never been there.
No, TAT, T-A-T. It's not around anymore. It was an Italian restaurant on the east side, right? Or west side.
And near Bexley.
Yeah, near Bexley.
Was it good?
The TAT Restaurante, it was really,
Then
much
I'll
like
try-
you.
I'll be associated.
Much like you, it was really good.
All right.
Really good. Good quality Italian food. Good quality tattoo. I'm a happy man. I feel like I've done something,
Do you feel?
dude.
Yeah,
Do you feel changed?
I do feel a little. You know what? And I think I kind of. as weird as this may sound, and you said a lot of people, this chair becomes a therapeutic place at times over the course. I think, I think it's like unconsciously a reset button of some sort.
Right.
I needed something significant, some sort of change that while it was significant, not drastic.
Right.
I didn't change my face. I didn't, dye my hair. I didn't,
But you've got something you take with you everywhere now.
But I got something that, I did something different. I did something to maybe change the course of whatever, sometimes you just got to shake it up a little bit in life. And I feel like this is like a start to that potential shake up, because I was in those 2 years that we lost contact.
Right.
Aside from the podcast, which I've said this on the podcast before, which saved me. I was in a funk. I was in a big funk. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like a lot of people were.
Well, yeah. I mean, I got shut down. I wasn't allowed to work for 10 weeks.
Right.
It was a weird time.
That was.
I only spiraled like a lot.
Oh yeah. I wonder how you handled that.
Yeah. Well, I did. I started doing these.
We have your art though.
I have my art, and I started doing these like drinking and drawing classes online. So I would make a cocktail, and then I would show people how to do something. So there's some like weird YouTube videos floating around. But my wife was working at a bakery at the time. She does admin for a bakery, but she would leave at like 4 a.m. to go to this bakery at the time. And so by the time she would get back at like 11 or 12, I would already be wasted. I've had to make 3 cocktails, to like show, like I'd set up different cameras, and edit it of me making the drink and stuff. Oh yeah.
Wasted. I'm saying this jokingly. But wasted at 11 o'clock, and you get home from the bakery. Did you bring donuts, bitch?
Oh, for sure. There's a blueberry muffin. That was my go-to, the blueberry muffin.
You can't say bitch and blueberry muffin.
Oh yeah. It was too sweet.
You say blueberry muffin, you gotta say something nicer than that.
But yeah, weird.
Which, by the way, I said that jokingly. No, I'm just saying.
My wife is not a bitch.
I get it. No, she's lovely. She's lovely.
How often are you here then, Liz?
Every day.
Oh, so is this your?
Oh, she runs.
I run the business.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, she makes sure that things.
Aha!
Yeah, that's why it functions.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have no idea how any of it works.
Dude, hey, I've said.
Great man is a woman rolling her eyes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There is behind every
I
great
think
man.
a lot of days I'll be out here like saying some bullshit, and she's in there. I can hear her like.
No. Behind every talented or great man, there's always a far more talented and greater woman. I totally agree with that. Is there anything else we haven't covered?
Hit on this book. I'm sitting right here over to the side, and there's a children's book right here.
Oh, you're talking about
What are we talking? What?
You're talking about the best-selling book, Frankie's Scared of Everything?
Frankie's Scared of Everything? What
Oh,
are you
yeah,
talking about? I didn't know about this.
I wrote an illustrated children's book. Yeah,
It's cool. I'm gonna get one before I leave.
it's available everywhere. Amazon, Target.com, Barnes and Noble.
What the hell, dude?
And you did the artwork?
Yeah, I wrote it too. Yeah, I wrote and illustrated it.
Oh man, this is very cool.
So yeah, it's
This-
semi-autobiographical. A kid is afraid of sounds in his home. He goes on this little 3D adventure, and then
Frankie's Scared of Everything.
yeah, it's like sort of like Technicolor. I never see kids' book that are like bright colors on dark pages, So I sort of wanted to do something that angle and has like sort of a graffiti tattoo feel.
You would be scared too if your own brain was out to get you. Follow Frankie as his imagination creates robots, beasts, secrets, even mole men on this Technicolor adventure. Frankie makes being afraid look fun.
Good tagline.
Yeah,
Thanks, publisher. Yeah, I want to be afraid. It's cool.
that's very cool. Now, is this going to be a potential series?
I actually my publisher was texting me today, so I have a phone call tomorrow.
I was just, as soon as I looked at, as soon as I saw that, I thought, wow, that could go immediately. The writer in me said this could go a whole bunch of different directions.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Did you say how to get that as well?
Everywhere. So online, everywhere. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Target.com, anywhere books are sold. Yep.
You even got a barcode.
It's real.
So you know
it's a real book. It's a real book.
Nice catch, Hansberry.
Thank you. I would have forgotten to promote myself.
Yeah, you know what? We're horrible at that too.
Yeah.
We suck. In fact, in order for this particular installment of Whiskey Business to be as successful as it should be, most of it's going to fall on you because we're horrible.
I'm going to promote it. I'll promote it. Don't worry.
I'll make sure it happens.
Yeah.
I have a huge ego, so I'm going to push this.
Hard.
Hard.
Maybe that's why we get along because I don't. You know what?
Yeah.
We are the yin and the
Yeah,
yang.
yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
we
Just
balance
like your
each other
daughter's
out.
tattoo, the yin and the yang,
Yeah,
baby.
that's just the way it's supposed to go. Was that about everything? Everything we wanted to accomplish tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You want another little pour of
Absolutely, please.
of Jasper Newton?
I
Jack
appreciate you
Daniel?
bringing this up here. Thank you so much. I'm just flattered that you let me do it. I truly appreciate it.
I'm honored that you reached out and found the time to do it in your schedule. And I guess I should thank you, Liz, because you run everything, so you know what the schedule is. You made the time to do this.
I think she reminded me.
And
so.
she reminded you, so thank you, Liz. Thank you so much. I want to thank TAT Franklin, of course, for doing, and Matt Franklin for doing this, which you can't see right now. Can we? We're gonna take this off for some pictures.
We'll
and
get
then
some
rewrap it.
We'll get some post photos.
We'll get some post
afterwards,
photos. All right. I want to thank Greg Hansberry on the audio side of things. John Whitney, who brought out the big boy camera for tonight. So some of the cool stuff that you people have watched, if you're listening on audio, he did some filmmaker close-up shit on the tattoo that was pretty awesome.
Felt pretty cinematic, yeah.
Yeah, right. So check it out on YouTube as well. Whiskey Business is a Never the Luck Productions hosted by me, your host, Dino Chapotas. Many thanks again to Matt Franklin. Thank you, brother, so
Sure,
much.
yeah.
Until the next bottle or the next tattoo. Thank you.